Welcome back to JFK Airport. It's roughly 22 hours after I last stepped off the Finnair A330, having come in from Stockholm to try out the new business class. This visit to my birth city was especially quick, but I'm looking forward to continuing this review and heading home. At the very least, the Finnair A330 cabin should be less chaotic than JFK's Terminal 8. After a very brief visit to New York, it's time to get back on the same exact A330. It's been sitting here at the airport for 23 hours or so to return to Stockholm and give a try of the overnight experience in Finnair's new business class. So come on board with me, we'll check it out. Ah, the familiar sight of champagne in an Itala Ultima Thule glass. I could get used to this for sure.
Tom Miltonen, Captain Dave, also in the cockpit, Captain Vesa Ojala, and Ponsikas. Flight time to Stockholm about 7 hours, meaning that with an on-time departure we'll be arriving to Stockholm also as scheduled. I hope that you'll be comfortable both with us on this flight and that you get some rest along the way as well.
White exit signs. All exits are equipped with slides or slide rafts. To find your nearest exit, follow the escape lights at floor level.
Who can tell me about these mansions I see down here? A beautiful setting near the water and under the JFK departure path seems like a fantastic combo, though the latter part is probably a downside for these people. This is no longer Queens, but part of Nassau County, I believe. Anyone know who lives here? Time to drink several more of these Northern Blush cocktails. They've really won me over by now. Packaged nuts this time, and there were no menus loaded. I guess there are still some bugs to work out, especially from outstations. It takes a while for dinner to be served, but it was once again absolutely delicious with perfectly sized portions. Again, I had all the desserts plus cheese, and again, I did not regret it. This cabin is very pretty in the dark, and there were several different phases that the mood lighting moved through, from orange to blue to something almost rainbow-like. And the northern sky obliged with its own beautiful hues. One thing I hadn't spotted before is this self-serve snack and drink cupboard, which is useful. I like when you can see what's available without having to ask, and we're seeing a lot of airlines do this these days. Though I didn't know it was there on the previous flight, partly because I never went around to that side. It might be good if flight attendants would mention this sort of thing so you know where to look if you get hungry later on. The sun has sort of set, but you can tell it's one of those where it's not really going to set completely. It's late May, so up at these latitudes, it's going to stay a little bit light. It's part of the reason I chose the left-hand side, as well as just doing it for some variety and sitting a little further back in the cabin. I'm in 6A for this one. And now it's time to try and get at least a few hours of sleep. Kind of a short flight, 7 hours. And I've frittered away 3 or 4 already, just enjoying the service and getting shots and hanging out. So now we're going to try this seat in bed mode, which is of course just the seat as it is with the footrest put up, no recline. So let's see how it is. It looks like it's going to be a comfortable service. There's a little mattress pad and a blanket. I'm going to set it up, see if I can sleep. I don't sleep that well on planes in general, so I'm not going to hold this up to too high a standard for that. But we'll see how comfortable it is just to lie there. And if we get any sleep, it's a bonus. So here's the bed. It's very comfortable to lie on, even though this mattress pad is not particularly thick. As it turns out, you actually don't need it to be. There's enough space for your feet in here, which is key. I tried to imagine what it would be like if I were taller. Keep in mind I'm 178 centimeters or 5'10". I think there's a few more inches at least available here, but those who are exceptionally tall might start to feel a little hemmed in. Anyway, I'd say the space available here is pretty typical and comparable to most business class seats I've tried. And then I passed out completely for 3 hours. I really wish this had been a longer flight so that I could have seen how long I would sleep for if it hadn't been time to land. I have a feeling it would have been quite a while. There's something about this seat that just puts you easily to sleep, at least in my one experience. I think the key difference is this. In many business class seats, when lying flat, I find myself conscious of the seat and/or the shell. That wasn't a factor here. It's just the right shape, and I quickly forgot where I was. That's a truly great thing. And in case you were wondering, there's a second lap belt positioned at the right spot for when you're sleeping, so no wrestling with an awkward seatbelt. So I was very happy with this flight, even though it's too short to get a real night of sleep. Breakfast is pretty standard issue, although the quiche Lorraine livens it up a bit. The weather isn't quite so nice back in Stockholm today, but nevertheless it's good to be back. The A330 definitely leaves you feeling more dried out and tired than the A350 would, but I feel relatively well rested after this whirlwind trip, which I think says a lot about the quality of the seat and service. A quick visit to say hi to the pilots caps off this little trip nicely.
Yeah, we actually switched everything off already, so...
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't want to sit around. Always something to see, so you'll probably see this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I think overall what Finnair's done with the new seat is fantastic. I'm really glad to see it. They've really invested and they've taken a chance. And I think for the most part what they've come up with is a very, very much improved seat and service, and makes them compete with some of the best airlines. They've been an underrated smaller airline for some time, even as they've had quite a big route network to Asia and the US. I think this might help get them on the radar for more people. I hope so anyway. I hope they're rewarded. I like to see airlines rewarded for taking chances and innovating a little bit. So thanks for coming along on this quick trip to New York, and hope you got a good sense of what it's like on Finnair. in Stockholm for Flight Radar 24. I'm Gabriel Lee.